What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the Honda Resource. So today we're back on the old CR-Yeeter. So I haven't been able to work on it much in the last week because I've just been extremely inundated with other work on cars and just been trying to make time to actually work on my own stuff. So finished up an 8th Gen SI I had in here on the lift last night and was able to actually move it under its own power into the shop. Now right now it doesn't, well, currently it kind of does, but it doesn't have shift cables nor a shifter in order to actually shift it. So I had to manually put it in gear by hand, start the vehicle, move it, but I can't shift gears, can't put it in neutral, that kind of stuff while inside the cabin. But I did manage to get a radiator mounted in here, and I'm working on getting the shift cables installed now. And also we finished up the wiring. So let's get you caught up and show you where we're at. Currently I'm working on the shift cables. This CRV was originally manual, so I already had the hole here for the shift cables. I just had to make the hole bigger. You can kind of see some of what I had to cut out here to make it where the K-series cables would fit in here using this factory K-series boot. This is the hole for the O2 sensor, and I'm going to try to retain that as well. Make the cabin back kind of sealed off from the elements, because I plan to be able to drive through creeks and that kind of stuff and not really worry about water just gushing inside the cabin. So also we got a power steering return line on here now. It just goes around and comes through here, all right, and up. All right, so I just used some clamps I found around and got it mounted up there. You can see now we also have a belt on here. This is just a random K-series compressor that I found laying around. I don't know that this is going to be the one I keep on here because it did have lines on it, but they're about this long and they're just sticking straight up, and they may have water in the compressor. So I don't know that one was going to stay on here, but at least temporarily it's got to where I can have a belt on here. Also have a radiator on here now. This is the original tabs, but originally they were about, you can see where I drilled them there, so they were there. So I moved them out here and then put a couple of spot welds on there. Same thing over here. You can see it used to be there, now it's here. Still gotta get some slim fans for that. Let's lower the truck down and talk about the radiator. Okay, so most everyone that I taught or I read about, they were using a EP3 or RSX radiator. I have one of those out here. It's actually right there. It's the EP3 radiator. But what I noticed with the EP3 radiator, this bottom hose is more of like over here, and it puts it in a really, really tight configuration in there. It makes it to where the hose is almost kinked. So I got to thinking, I was like, man, there's got to be another way. So I'm just like looking around my shop, and I found this radiator. This is out of an S2000. And I had a broken, like one of these was broken off of it over here. So I put this JB tank weld on here, hoping that holds. If not, I can always buy another. But you see it puts the outlet here and there. So that's plenty of clearance. It makes me feel a lot better about the hose routing and that kind of stuff. I just got to get a couple slim fans for it, and then we should be in business as far as this goes. This upper radiator hose here is off of a 8th Gen Civic SI, and then the lower hose is actually Acura TSX upper hose that I had laying around. It doesn't hit anything or anything in there. Boop. Looks kind of like tight, but it doesn't hit, and it fits pretty nice. I'm satisfied with it. And then also put on the Acura spark plug cover there, and got the throttle cable situated thanks to JDM Nuggets over there on Instagram, and he also has a YouTube channel. I'll link it in the description. He's doing the K series RD1 also. He's in New Zealand. But he told me he spaced out the bracket. He had a similar throttle bracket here. And so I used some nuts here, spaced the bracket out, and then used the 2nd gen CRV throttle cable. And I'm telling you, this thing works flawless. The way it was on here with the first gen cable and this one to the Cruise, looking at the K Pro, it only got to 85% throttle, so no bueno. But this way right here works really well. It goes 100% throttle, no issue. Let's see what else. Got the purge block off on here, and then also added my temp sending unit for the gauge. Now what I did is I repurposed some of the wiring that went to the purge. I used it's a yellow with a blue stripe, and then made it into this. This is a OE temp sending unit, like from a B series. And then on the inside, where it connects to the ECU, I went to I think it's the B connector, which is the white plug right here, the second plug. And it's like right down here on the bottom row, it had that yellow with the blue stripe, which is actually right there. And I just depinned it from this connector because we're no longer using the purge circuit. Okay. And then I tied my wire from my jumper harness, which was yellow with a green stripe, into that wire. And now the temp gauge works. Also, I ran the white with the blue stripe over to the B10, I believe it is, on the RSX harness, so that our charge light works. And I believe that's all the wiring that we've got to do. We still got to clean up in here. This goes to the fan switch, but I don't need a fan switch since I have K Pro. K Pro controls the fans. You can see there the shift cables. I just run them inside. So I've got to mount the shifter, and then we can get some shifting going on. This thing does start up immediately, pretty much. So you can't ask much more than that. Pretty happy with it. Really, the main thing to note on the K series is they are very dependent on that wideband sensor. So it's not just the O2 sensor like it is on the B series. It has an actual wideband, and they very much depend on it. And this thing is running bad rich at idle right now. So it runs really well, has great throttle response, and can't wait to drive it. But we got to keep working through these little things and get it to where she's worthy. But that's where we're at right now. So let's see if we can get these shift cables finished and installed. That way we can actually move it around here at the yard without having to literally start and stop, start and stop, start and stop. Power, baby. K-swap the world.
Them tires are screaming for you to stop.
Got another first gen over here. Been doing a little work on it. We bought it. It was in op when we bought it, but it is manual. See there? It's manual. It's got 262,000 miles on it. Comes complete with a felony forest. That's what we call those. Felony forest. And like I said, it was in op when we bought it. And now it runs beautifully. We actually replaced the head on it because they didn't have this upper plenum on it. Let me turn it off. All right, so they didn't have the upper plenum on, and where the hole is in the intake for the plenum to go in right there. They had a PVC pipe plug with a piece of rag, and it apparently sucked that rag and that PVC plug down into the intake manifold, and then the rag went into the valves, and it bent some valves. And anyways, we repurposed the head from the CR-Yeeter and actually diagnosed what was actually wrong with the CR-Yeeter's motor, because I don't know if you ever heard it. It had that little bit of tick-tock, you know? And it turns out it had a bent rod. So probably sucked up some water at some point, and that's what caused that. So it looks like someone eliminated the AC at some point, but it does run good now. And we're about to put this joint up for sale. It's has a Kansas title. And you can see that it has some rust repair there. It was originally red, and somebody did this fantastic spray paint job on it. Looks like they did a little homemade remedy there. And on the other side, check this out. See there? So it's doing a little pepperoni, coming right on back out. Somebody did a ninja kick on the driver's side over here. You can see right there, bam, footprint. But anyways, also we had to put the clutch master cylinder in here because it was staying on the floor. But now we have a clutch pedal. Anyways, let's go back home. Okay, back to the shifter. We did get it installed to where we can utilize it now. This is a set of RSX cables and an RSX shifter. It has been modified with a K-tuned little shift arm over here. And it also has a K-tuned bushings in here. I got the two rear ones to line up with the existing holes from the B series shifter. The front ones didn't line up, and the way it sits in here, I could probably put some rev nuts or something down here, but it's spaced up about this far from the actual base down here. But it feels good and solid and tight. It's not moving. And then on the piece of trim here, I had to notch around that with my angle grinder just to where this piece would sit down to where it's supposed to be. But it shifts through all the gears like it's supposed to, and that's what I'm going to do. We'll leave it like that, and just 2 bolts, and I think we should be good to go. So let's see if we can get the upper piece of the shifter console installed. All right, so the piece here slid right over it, no issues there. Just got to put all my little screws and clips and stuff back in. I am going to retain the factory RD1 shift knob. I do have a S1 billet knob, but I think this is cool, like how it all clips together with this. So I'll probably use the S1 knob on my coupe whenever we get to that project, because you just can't get much more factory look than that. Sick. Love it. So anyways, I guess that's pretty much going to wrap up today's video. Hopefully we'll be able to finish up some more stuff here pretty soon. I did just get all the stuff in for the exhaust, so hopefully we'll finishing up a video on that soon, as well as installing the drive shaft and all this other stuff to make it 100%. And then also installing slim fans and the AC kit. Hopefully we'll be wrapping this thing up here pretty soon, because I'm ready to rip it. I'm ready to hit the road and see how much better this K series feels than the B series. So stay tuned, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Peace.